question I get asked most about back play is how deep should the backs stand and how wide should they be? And there's really no easy answer to that because of individual abilities of the backs, how fast they are, how far they can pass, how quickly they can pass. So this module today we're going to look at building a backline. I'm going to try and base it on logic and establish sort of a frame of reference for where players are capable of passing the ball. Of course, as you go through the season, you improve the passing, you improve the speed with which they pass, then that may change. But this is establishing, firstly, a base combination between your 9 and 10, which is hugely important for a backline to function, and then looking at the roles of the rest of the backs, and giving us a backline with real rhythm and timing. We're going to use a guy who doesn't normally play 9 today, because I think it would be good to show that you need to adapt to the abilities that you've got within your squad. Well, he's a pretty good player, but he doesn't play 9. So we're going to start with finding out where he's comfortable passing the ball. So we're just going to get him to pass a number of balls to a spot. We'll get someone on that spot to catch them, put the ball down, and establish where the midpoint of his passes is, so that we can make him feel comfortable and give the first 5 an idea of where he's got to hit the ball when he runs onto it. Okay, so we'll go through that process now. Pass the ball, don't worry about where Hayden is, just pass it where you feel comfortable, and we'll find out your limits. Good. So Hayden, I want you to put this cone right in the middle of where the most frequent passes were. Okay, that's good. We've established where Lima feels comfortable passing the ball, and we've put a blue cone down there. That now is the point that the first 5 is going to receive the ball, hopefully, when we start putting our base combination together. So now we're going to establish where the first 5 should stand to be able to run onto that ball and then run, catch, pass to the next man. I want you to hit the ball at sort of 90 degrees angle to the ball. So you don't have to be dead straight, I don't think that's reality. But if you hit it sort of on this angle here, that's about 90 degrees to the line of the pass. Okay, so you put that down, and we'll just throw a couple Lima, and you can adjust the cone to where you feel comfortable. Nice, that'll do. That's good. How does that feel? So we've got Lima passing to where he's comfortable. We've got Hayden as first 5, 8, 10, meeting the ball at that spot. But you've got to have a cue, Hayden, don't you, for when you leave. So what's the cue that you're using with Lima?
Basically just using when he delivers the ball, I'll just have my front foot forward, and then as soon as the ball's left his hands, I'll approach the ball with a couple of steps. As I put the cone back a couple of steps just so I get the advantage line. Outstanding.
Okay, so he's got a cue that you need to have something standard by which he departs, so that you get some continuity with, or some consistency with how you're hitting the ball. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get Hayden to catch that ball, and then he's going to make a quick pass. We're going to have a second 5 there to catch the pass where he's comfortable passing it. And we're going to go through the same process to start building our backline. So I want you taking it and passing as soon as you can. Don't pass Jason, Hayden. So you pass where you're comfortable. That's better because those other 2 were forward. That's all right. Okay, that'll do us. So Jason, I want you to put a cone on that spot where most of those balls went. So sort of about there, yeah, that's pretty good. But I want you to put that down where you think you're going to have to stand to be able to run onto that ball, onto that pass. Okay, hold it there. We've gone through a very similar process to what we did with our base combination of 9 and 10. So Jason at 12 established where Hayden was comfortable passing the ball, and then he set his cone up to where he thought he should start. But just like the 10, your 12 has to have a cue for departure. What did you do?
I was taking my cue off the first 5.
What were you looking for?
Waiting till after he's left. Wait until he's got his hands up and the ball's coming to him, and then I go.
Okay. Why not go off the 9?
Because if the whole back line goes off the 9, you'll all come up too flat.
Beautiful. So we've got a staggered departure, which I think is really important. You know, the old coaches in the old day, this is a process that was taught to me by a great British coach called Jim Greenwood, and he really pushed the idea of a staggered departure and not running off 9. And the old coaches used to say, you should be able to see the number on the back of the player inside you. That's how they base their depth. So if we line up Hayden here, for example, and Jason, you're just out there somewhere. Okay, just come out a wee bit further, sort of where you'd be standing, and we're attacking there. So this appears to be a really flat position at this point, but as soon as Hayden leaves, we've got depth. Okay, so we've gone from a flat alignment to a deep alignment just by staggering our timing and letting this player go first. Okay, and I think that's an important point to make. One of those balls you had to stop. You stopped and you caught it behind you, like that. So what did that say to you about your timing?
Probably that I left too early.
Left too early, that's right. So how did you fix that up the next time?
The next time, just taking my cue off him again, just leaving a bit later.
Yeah, okay, and that's a key philosophy in terms of establishing your timing, okay, and understanding that relationship between your departure and where you get the ball. Right, we'll do about 4, because I reckon you're going to be really accurate, Jace. So Jace, what happened to that? Getting that ball behind you, what happened there?
Oh, it slowed me down.
Yep, so how can you make sure you don't get it behind you?
Just leave a bit later.
Okay, so just leave a wee bit later. Okay, come on boys. We've established a backline, or we've built a backline on a bit of logic here. So we've got our 10 having a cue to leave off his 9, and that's when the ball's left 9's hands. So he's trying to keep that cue all the time. You can see the odd time he's got to stop and take the ball. Generally that's because he's left too early. Okay, and as a coach, if you see that in your team, you might need to just do this. So just get behind your 10 and just hold on to him, and don't let him go until the cue. which is 9 passing the ball in this case. Okay, so it's just simple coaching strategy of hold on to him, don't let him go. Okay, so you're trying to depart, go. Okay, and that can help him just reconfirm his cue for departure. The combination between 10 and 12 looks reasonably good. As you get through the season and the passing gets sharper from 9, for example, then that'll change what happens from 10. Okay, so there'll be adjustments to be made as the abilities improve within the team. Now with our centre, Pale, you're out there. The passes from Jace were more or less on the button, but where were you catching the ball?
Oh, but behind me?
Yeah, so you're catching it behind you. And were they dropping or were they?
No, they were up.
They were up, so they're okay. So what would you do to ensure that you're not having to stop and take the ball there?
Leave later.
Leave later, yeah. So what's your cue going to be?
Jason, probably.
Okay.
Passing the ball.
Passing or?
Oh, running, leaving.
Okay, well you need to come up, I don't care what it is, you just need to come up with some sort of cue. If it's Jason passing the ball, what would that do to your starting position?
Come flatter.
Yeah, so you'd have to start flatter, yeah. So find your cue, work out where you have to run from for that cue for Jason's pass, and then we'll start getting some timing. Okay? Right, let's have a look at putting it together. Julian, you go on the wing there, and we'll see if we can get our backline running pretty smoothly before we put it under some pressure. Good, that's what we want to see. Pale, let's go again. So you reckon that cone's right for leaving? When do you want to leave?
When he's going to turn to pass this way?
When he's going to turn to pass?
Maybe.
Okay, well, let's have a look at that. If that's your cue. Okay, I'm not going to let you go until he does that, and we'll see what that does. What do you reckon?
Too late.
Slightly?
Yeah.
What would be another cue?
When he leaves.
When he leaves, okay. So let's have a look at when he leaves. Good, let's go again. Boys, I want you to feel really comfortable about taking the ball and giving it. Okay, and give it to where you feel really comfortable. Okay, so let's try and take it, give it, speed the passing up. It's up to the guy outside to be adjusting. We've established a wee bit of rhythm. We've got some players out of position, but that doesn't really matter so long as they adapt to the abilities that they've got. You smart coaches out there, you will have seen that if we played that back line on Saturday with that sort of timing, we're not going to get very far because we're well over the tackle line before the centre gets the ball. So we're going to get hit probably about second 5. So we need to do a bit of work on speeding up the passing and maybe our depth. We want our backline players to run, catch, pass. You don't want them to catch, then run and pass. It takes up too much space. You want to run onto the ball, catch and pass. So that's a skill that you need to work on with your backs. These guys are pretty good at it. Even they can get better because we're carrying the ball a wee bit far and we're probably going to get tackled about second 5 or centre before we get the ball out. So that's the sort of work that we need to do with them. One of the real advantages of a staggered departure is that if you do get a ball behind you, so for example, Hayden, if we've got Lima here, we've got Hayden here, and second 5's here, and I'm leaving late, so I want you to pass the ball behind Hayden, so I want it to go behind you. So as he stops like that to receive the ball, if I haven't left too early, I can then adjust. So give me the ball, Hayden. I can still adjust, whereas if I go early, so if I play off the 9 as well as a 10, I'm probably going to overrun the ball, okay? If I overrun the ball, obviously I can't because it's a forward pass, what's the only direction I can run in at that point to still be onside and receive the pass? Anyone know?
Out, sideways.
Out, sideways, yeah. So that's a fault. Often if you see a back line starting to drift across the field, it's often because they've left early, there's been a poor pass. They can't keep running forward because it would be a forward pass, so they have to go sideways to be able to get the ball. Okay, so that staggered departure is really, really important. Okay, there's been a lot of discussion about the depth of the back line. There are proponents that want a back line to be set really, really deep. There are some that think a flatter back line that doesn't allow a defence to recover and slide is the way to go. We've built a back line that looks reasonably consistent, has pretty good rhythm. They're staggering their departure, which means that 10 is playing off the 9, so he's got a cue on when he leaves to run onto the ball. The next part of this module, we're going to look at setting our depth appropriately for the sort of defence that's in front of us. And we've got a defensive group over here. We'll ask them afterwards what they found stressed the most about the attack, and that might help you as coaches. When you're ready, boys. Go back to your first position. So Jules, go back to first position. So you were setting really wide there. Okay, great demonstration. Come on, boys. You can't do better than perfection. So what we did there was a quick experiment. We attacked with a really, really deep standing back line. We had 4 attackers against 3 defenders. So I wanted to see what really stressed the defenders. And then we brought the back line up to their flatter position that they had practiced when they were building the back line. So I wanted to ask the defenders what they felt stressed them the most. What we'll do is the attack, if we can just set you out on your deep setting. As defenders, when you were confronted with this deep back line, how'd you feel? How'd you feel in terms of covering it?
Felt more comfortable.
Yeah. Felt comfortable? Yeah. Why was that?
Because we had more time to think what we had to do.
So you had time to think what you had to do? Yeah. That's the first thing. What else did it allow you to do?
Drift.
With that time, it allowed you to drift. So it's a concept of recovery time. And they gave you recovery time by being really deep. It allowed you 3 of you to cover 4 attackers. Just come to that formation you had, our ideal formation. So how did you find it as a defensive group when they lined up like that?
Harder, because you had to push harder.
Okay, so it was more difficult because of what?
Because they're flatter.
They were flatter, and what did that do to you? Gave you less time. Okay, so what didn't that allow you to do? React, didn't allow you to drift. Who was the outside man in the defensive line? You were. So where was their winger standing?
Quite wide and flat. So
did that really stress you?
Yeah, I thought it was in 2 minds what to do.
Yeah. Okay, and I think that's an important lesson, that if we ask the players, how I don't preach a flat backline or a deep backline. I try and teach a backline that's appropriate for the situation. But if you ask the players, if they've got recovery time, if they're able to slide or drift or whatever you call it, then you're not being effective with your back attack. Okay, and certainly this demonstration showed that if you can flatten up a wee bit, you give the defensive team less time, less space to recover or slide, and you cause them to be stressed. If you cause a defensive team to be stressed, they become sluggish, and that's what you want as an attacking team. Okay, so in this activity here, we're going to look at the backline that we built. So we're going to stand them in the same spot that they were standing before. I'm going to use a bit of whipped cream to mark where that spot is, where the 10 stands. Whipped cream's really good on grass, doesn't stain it. I'm going to call a colour for our defenders to line up on a coloured cone. The defenders are going to sprint off their mark once Lima, the halfback, has passed the ball, so that's their cue to sprint. So we're going to have a flat defence, which is going to be our red cones there, a medium in the green cone, and a slow defence where the yellow cones are. So I'll just call that colour and the backs will adjust, and we'll talk about how they adjust as we go through the process. Right, first thing is to mark where Lima's going to pass the ball. So what we've got by building our backline, we've got a frame of reference. Okay, and that frame of reference is that Lima likes to pass the ball there. Okay, so that's his, we'll call that 1. Okay, so that's number 1 there. So if Hayden was to ask for the ball flat, that's probably going to be about here. So you know where flat is because you know where normal is. Okay, so that's flat. Okay, deep, that might be deep. And that might be deeper. So we're just going to look at how we're going to adjust our depth based on the speed of the defence. So we've got more or less a blitz defence on that front line and then deeper defenders after that. So we're going to see what that does to our backline positioning, our starting point. Okay, so we'll just start slowly. So we'll get 3 defenders on green cones. Yep, let's stand on normal so we get a frame of reference. So what I'd like you to do is stand in open doorways. So that means in between the defenders. Yeah, that's good. Now, remember that's where the ball was going to be passed to. So where are you going to stand based on, because you're going to pass the ball to there. Yep. Okay, let's have another one. Next group in. So we've been through the first activity. We've got a medium speed defence. We were using the halfback pass to where he's comfortable, number 1 there, and first 5 was setting up where he felt comfortable running onto it so we could run, catch, pass. It's really important that you understand why you would then go deeper or flatter to the normal pass. So how did we go in getting the ball to the outside? Who was under the most pressure?
Centre.
Centre, so is you, Pale. So what do you want from your first 5 there to give you a bit more time?
Probably just give it early as you can.
Earlier, so if he's passing as quickly as he can, what else can he do to give you a bit more time?
Get a bit more depth.
Yeah, depth, hold a bit.
A bit more depth.
A
Slow
bit more
feet.
standing.
Okay,
Yeah, a bit more standing, so
Yeah.
it's not running on so hard, taking up all the space.
you might slow it down, but we want to keep you moving on to it, Hayden, because moving on to a ball is a really effective way to fix the opposition without taking up too much space. So if I move on to you and I haven't got the ball, I can still fix you. Then I receive the ball and catch and pass. I've done my job. I've taken up less space with the ball in hand, but I've still been able to fix you. If I still want you running onto the ball, what's that going to do to your combination with Lima? What are you going to say to Lima? Where do you want the pass?
Out in front.
You want it in front, but do you want it where it's comfortable? Do you want it deeper or do you want it flatter?
Yeah, probably a little bit deeper.
A wee bit deeper, so you want him to pass it a wee bit deeper, maybe to that line there. So what does that do to your positioning?
I'll go back as well.
How far are you going to go back?
I'll probably just a couple of steps.
You go back the...
Go back the distance from where he's going to pass the ball.
Beautiful. Go back the distance you're going to pass the ball. What about the guys outside? How far are you going to go back?
Same.
Just the same.
Just the
for first
same.
5.
Outstanding. You've been well coached, you boys. So you don't want every player making up their own mind about their depth, because we've got a combination already. We've only done it for 10 minutes, but we've got a reasonable combination already. So you don't want to upset that by 10 going deeper, 12 going deeper still, 13 going deeper still, so you can get the ball through. You want them all going back the same distance and keeping their combination with 10 consistent and standard. So if 10 takes a step back, everyone takes a step back. 10 takes a step forward, everyone takes a step forward. So we'll try and keep that standard. Okay, so let's have a look at where is the right place to be given this defence. Let's go through a few more. And you're the key here, Pale. When you feel comfortable, you need to give the information back into the 10. Palmy boys, if you can on the outside, see if you can nail Pale. Okay, so don't slow down for him. How are we there, Pale? Good. Pretty good, eh? Righto, yellow. Red. Okay, some feedback there. Pale to Hayden. Okay, so give him that feedback. What do you want him to do? How far? The last one. How far do you want him to step back? The last one, is it? Yeah. Okay. You need to tell Lima. If I had a bit more cream, where would you want me to put it when you're playing against that really fast blitz defence?
Quite a bit deeper.
So we'd probably make a deeper line again. The point I'm getting across is that you can't just be in one position, okay? Depending on the speed of the defence, you need to vary the depth of your attack. You don't want to make it obvious. If you make it obvious and stand everyone goes deeper, then you lose your timing, you lose your consistency, and it becomes obvious to the defence. So let the first 5 set the depth, and you step back the same amount of space as he stepped back, or forward the same amount that he stepped forward. So it looks familiar to the opposition. It looks like you haven't made too big a change. I think that's really important. Don't give any cues away. So we've become reasonably effective here at putting the outside man to space. I think the boys are understanding the importance of depth depending on the defence. We'll go and run through a couple more, and then I'm going to just progress slightly the drill at another cone, and the defenders can choose. There's still only 3 defenders, but they can choose which of the 4 cones they go on, and we'll see if we can hit the space that's offered to us. When you're ready. Beautiful. Beautiful soft hands, Pale. Red. Blue. Okay, so they're a passive defence here because they're pretty deep. Okay, there's an obvious hole. Where's the hole? Okay, so Jace, is that going to be you running through there? Okay, so what do you want from your first 5?
Go hard to the line.
Go hard to the line. So on that last time when Hayden passed it, what could you have done?
Just drifted off.
Yeah, he could have drifted off because he passed it early, didn't he? So you've got to really take it to the line if there's a hole there. Okay, so let's have another look at that. Sprinting up, boys. Good. Next group. Red. Good. Green. Beautiful. Okay, that's great. So up till now we've made it pretty easy for the attack. We've made obvious space, and the defenders have played their role and stuck man on man. So now we're going to say to the defenders, you can drift if you want to. So they're going to line up just on the first 3 cones, and if you can drift or slide, you can. Okay, so our role here is what, boys? Need to fix them. So you need to be just deep enough to get the ball to the point you want to get it to, but not too deep that they can slide. Okay, green. Okay, so what information are you going to give Hayden and Jason here?
Some quick step players.
Okay, how are they going to do that?
Run straight.
Run straight. What's the first part of running straight that's important? When do you want them to start running? With the ball or without it?
Without it.
Without it. So you want them running onto the ball because that'll help fix them as long as you're aggressive. Okay. At the moment, it's obvious to me that you're gonna pass. So you need to not give that cue away. Okay. So you need to be running onto it and then catch pass. Blue. Very nice though, Hayden. That was good, mate. That was run, catch, pass. Blue. Nice. Good. Nice hands. So this is, really quite a highly skilled young group. They've picked up things fairly quickly. The last activity that I'm going to do is reloading or reforming our attack from players coming out of a ruck, or having set up a launch move and then getting back into position for the next attack. In this activity, we'll have our 3 defenders already in position. They can choose any one of the 4 cones, so they'll create an obvious space for the attack who's going to reform from a group position. So as the attack comes round, I want them looking at the defence and communicating what's in front of them, so where the space is. What that will do, that will allow them internally to adjust their positional play. So they should be starting to understand if the space is in close, I can flatten up. If it's a slow defence, I can flatten up. If it's a fast defence, I can go deeper a wee bit. If the space is out wide, I might need to be deeper again. So they will, once they've understood that, if they can see those situations, then they've got a good chance of attacking them. So that's what we're going to work on in this activity. Coming from a group situation, facing forward, looking at the opposition and basing our attack on what the defence is giving us. Okay, you guys will leave when the halfback passes again, just like normal. Okay, it's a fast defence from that position, and you guys have to adapt. Go! Go on the red. Go! It's really important because wingers have the most time and space to make decisions on the field. So Julian's out there, he can already see what's happening with the defence. So he's a key communicator in all of this. The only problem is with the wing way out there often doesn't have much influence over the backline, so he needs to pass the messages in. If we can get it into Pale or Jason, then we're going to influence the back attack. Okay, so Julian's a key communicator, he's got time. These other boys, as they come around, they also need to be looking. I'm not going to call where you're going to go, so you just start just outside that area slightly. Okay, just want you to watch me. These guys won't see where you're going to, okay, and they won't hear me call. So we're just going to have to adapt. Go! Go! What's happened to Pale's pass over the course of this activity? What's he done with his pass? Dropped a bit, so you might come a bit closer. Why has it dropped a wee bit? No, I don't reckon. Isn't he passing quicker? Isn't he passing quicker? Well, you've got beautiful hands, mate. And so you've got to adjust to that, eh? Yeah. Because as it comes quicker, you need to be a bit flatter. Yeah, let's go. Go! Beautiful. That's a cut. That's a rat. That's a rat, that's right. That's a rat. Boys, for an hour, just been thrown together and operate like that was outstanding. So really appreciate the effort you put into it, and your skill level was great, and that made that a really good session. Obviously there are going to be mistakes when you put a group together. That's coaching. So what we're trying to give you in this module on building a backline is have some cues, get some consistency with your passing, your departure, make it logical for the abilities of the people in your backline, and then adjust it based on what you want to achieve with your play and what the defence is giving you. Whether it's a really fast blitz defence, whether it's a slow defence, you need to adjust the play that you use and your positional play within the attacking backline. And remember, the depth is set by the first 5, and the rest of the members of the backline maintain the integrity of their positioning on the first 5. So if he takes a step back, they all take a step back. That way, I think you'll get a backline that gives you a lot of satisfaction and is really effective.